Hello, this is Kittens cycling in Lanzarote. In my last video, I cycled the southern part of Lanzarote, including the famous Timanfaya National Park, and it was around 120 kilometers. And today I will be cycling the northern part of Lanzarote, which will also be around 100 kilometers. Before going on the cycling, I've searched some of the famous cycling routes in Lanzarote, and in most cases they recommended this: 100 kilometers south, 100 kilometers north. The main destination of today's cycling is Mirador del Rio, which in English means the Rio Lookout Point. This Mirador del Rio was built by the famous César Manrique, a Spanish architect who lived in Lanzarote. It is the northernmost lookout point in Lanzarote Island, and as most of these famous lookout points do, it also has a restaurant, coffee shop, and some souvenir shops too. And the route is basically, you first head up to a small town called Aria, which is like a center town of northern Lanzarote. And if you can manage to go farther up north, then you are heading up to Mirador del Rio. But of course, if you are too tired, you turn around at Aria and go back to the place where you've started. The Timanfaya National Park, which I did cycle in my previous video, the whole route was quite flat, so it was relatively easy to cycle on. But this Del Rio route definitely has some sharp climbs. Overall, it's 100 kilometer distance and 1,600 meter climb, so it's not that bad. Now I'm arriving at the first lookout point, which is Mirador de Aria. This is rather a quick break for me, but since the view you can get from this mirador is so good that I'll be stopping for a while and have my coffee and some bananas. One of the good things when you are traveling around Canary Isles, including Lanzarote, the people, they are all so kind. Because the tourism business in Canary Isle is so big, locals are so accustomed to tourists. And honestly, it's much cheaper than traveling in Ireland. Right outside the cafe building, there is this amazing lookout point. And if you don't buy food or drink coffee, I think you have to pay 1 or 2 euros just to enter here. But if you drink or buy something in the cafe, it's free. After Mirador de Aria, here comes today's one of main destination, which is the Aria descent. Actually, I have an experience coming up this hill from the opposite side with my car, and I realized the road is quite narrow here. For me, the thing is, I really don't like climbing the hills with narrow roads. You know, even with all these kind words that cycling is good for the environment or good for your health, but from deep down we know that bicycles on these roads are basically the obstacle to cars, and it gets even worse in these kind of sharp climbs. Because the roads are so narrow, cars practically cannot overtake you. Of course, the road is shared between cars and cyclists, but I want to cycle in a way that is more comfortable and friendly to drivers. Anyways, whether it's ascent or descent, the area hill here has a truly fantastic view, so it's really worth visiting. After the area descent, you come across Area Town, which is the biggest town in northern Lanzarote. Like I said, if you are too tired at this point, you can just turn around and go back to where you have started, and that will be about, depending on your starting location, about 60 to 70 kilometers. And of course, the altitude gain would be much lower than compared to covering the whole distance up to Mirador del Rio. But obviously that's not the case for me, and I'll be keep cycling up north past Aria. So about 15 kilometers up north from Aria, you finally arrive at Mirador del Rio, which is the most famous lookout point in Lanzarote, because the whole lookout point and the cliff road that I'm cycling on is quite high. The view you are getting is just breathtaking. At the distance across the tiny channel, that's the island called Graciosa, and it was a bit shame that the sandstorm from Sahara kind of got worse and worse, and it obstructed this majestic view. It was a bit disappointing, but well, you have to live with it. Also, it gets very windy on some points on this cliff road. By windy, I mean even windier than Ireland. So you have to pay a good caution and cycle safely. Because obviously, one side of this cliff road is a sheer drop. Here is the Mirador del Rio car park. And like always, because I'm wearing a full cycling gear, I can't really enter the place. And for today, I will be just passing by. And tomorrow, I'll bring my car, go into the lookout point, drink coffee, and do some shopping. This is the video clip that I took the day after. The view is still spectacular. After Mirador del Rio, I got to the point where I've covered most of the main destinations today, and just before turning around and heading south, I'm heading up slightly more north to the town called Orzola, and then heading back to where I've started. Here I'm passing by the beach side, where there is a famous tourist attraction called Llameos del Agua. It's practically the garden of water. I'll also visit this place again tomorrow. You can see in the video the sandstorm is getting worse and worse, and I heard from locals that you get this kind of sandstorm once or twice per month. And I think I was a bit unlucky. Here I'm passing by Jardin de Cactus, the cactus garden, which I'll also visit tomorrow with my car. So like that, after San Bartolome, I safely arrived back to Tinajo. So this trip concludes my main goal, which is cycling about 250 kilometers south and north of Lanzarote. And 2 days later, because I wanted to cycle a little bit more here before returning to Ireland, I did another around 70 kilometers of cycling towards Playa Blanca. That was a very easy pace ride, so I didn't took any video. But overall, I really enjoyed my cycling trip in Lanzarote, Not to mention the fact that I was able to escape from the horrible Dublin weather for a while. Thank you very much and see you in my next video.